Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon, even though despite the fact I've already made a truckload of Disney related videos as of late. So I still got more to do. Yes sir. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a follow-up video uh, for a video I've already made. And yeah, I guess I'll just get straight to the point. If anybody already saw the first part of this, you already know what I'm talking about. And yeah, because of this, it does make me want to question certain things. Like, why does Batgirl want to help people? I mean, really, people are dumb. I would have just gone rogue a long time ago if I were her. Ah, this is nonsense. I mean, really. So yeah, I just thought I would just do a follow up because there's still quite a few things that needs to be discussed when a certain individual, a certain Kevin Swanson, I should add, was again pretty much just, bitching about Frozen and its sequel because it's going to cause the downfall of society. Yeah, how asinine that sounds. And something to do with the Illuminati, Satanists, or some mumbo jumbo, tomfoolery, I guess you can call it. And to pretty much warn everybody to not watch these films. Well, guess what? I'm gonna do it anyway, regardless of what you say. So, yeah. Again, this is gonna be a pretty lengthy one, so I appreciate anybody staying tuned to watch this, of course. And yeah, uh, what he's trying to do here is he's trying to be like the Superman in the situation, like he's the hero, trying to warn everybody about what's going on. If anything, at the end of the day, it's a cautionary tale on what he was trying to do. That the LGBT community, the pagans, the feminazis, and well, feminists in general, even the good feminists, and of course, gonna include the Disney company and whoever else supports these said groups right here. Pretty much they'll supposedly they're all doing some bad, which doesn't make any sense like at all. Anything about it, but okay. According to him, this is all true because they're all part of the satanic people, like they're behind closed doors, somewhere that nobody knows about. They're all part of this mysterious group, and they've come up with some sort of crazy, wild plans to destroy the the good people in this country. And when you think again, like I mentioned multiple times before, whether people want to accept this as a fact or not, this is not a Christian nation. It never was, never will, and never should. And it's not currently. And not that I'm saying that you shouldn't have the freedom for religion. Don't get me wrong. But just because you have the freedom for religion to practice it doesn't mean you should force it onto everybody's throats. But that's the thing. Kevin Swanson is claiming that that's what the LGBT is doing. Shoving their quote unquote agenda down your throat. Oh boy, that sounded more gay than it should have been. But you know I'm getting out of here. The entire thing just screams paranoia. If I want anything to be shoved down my throat, we're gonna have to go into the bedroom. You know that, right? Because get it. But yeah, okay. I'm on a more serious note. Like I said, is that this just sounds totally bizarre when you think about it. It goes on a tangent, a lengthy tangent, just because a lot of the fans, a lot of the Disney fans, specifically Frozen fans, did the whole hashtag thing on Twitter and all that jazz. Give Elsa a girlfriend, which yes is a topic I've spoken about multiple times. And quite honestly, personally speaking, I'm getting tired of bringing it up. And okay, it's nobody's business. Sure, first of all, it's nobody's business who you sleep with. Don't get me wrong. If you want to sleep with somebody of the same gender, uh, as long as it's within consent, as long as you know you're not underage or anything bad like that, then who cares? You know, not you guys are not relatives. You just want to have some fun and whatnot. If you guys want to rent a hotel for the night, or for a few nights if you can afford it, and just have some fun. Be my guest, sure, why not? You both are consenting adults, aren't you? So, fine. It's not my business. But and it's not his business. Point being is that why does it matter so much that if she has a relationship? Somehow, this means is the end of society. Like I was saying, everything's gonna collapse. Everybody's losing their moral values and whatnot. It's just because a fictional, again, like I said in my previous video, a fictional, a make believe character whom isn't even real, and okay, somehow she's gonna uh this CGI created pixels, uh this character is gonna somehow ruin your life. Oh boy, it makes me question: did you really have a life to begin with? Not that I'm trying to say lesbianism or bisexuality is fake. Yeah, the thing is that you're born like that. It's not a choice. You don't become that thing out of the blue, like overnight, like a sudden thing, just because you saw a make believe character in a movie that was created by some company. Give me a break. Okay, let me just wrap things up before we just get to his stupid ass. But okay, if it's that simple, if you can just turn gay, okay, right now, really pause this video, watch some gay porn or bisexual porn with two men in it, and if that turns you on, well, I got news to tell you. So yeah, that's something to think about. If it's that simple, oh boy. I know it's just taking me a while to get to do I start I guess to officially start the video, I guess, but I just want to set this up because this entire thing is just nonsensical. I'm trying to bring you up to speed to some extent, I guess you can say. For anyone that hasn't seen the first part of this, yeah, but that's basically what he's getting fed up with. Kevin Swanson over here assumes that just because that's what the fans want, that's going to happen. Well, again, I got news to tell you. That's not how it works. And the company isn't always going to cave in what what the audiences want. They're not always going to do that. And yeah, it has to make sense within the context of the story and the overall narrative and whatnot. And there's been a bunch of mini shorts that they made. They did like a Lego TV series. And there's been also multiple books as well. Two full-length movies. And yeah, don't you think you kind of like out of blue? Oh, it's just a lesbian. Do you think it's a bit late for that anyway? But yeah, just seems. And not that, don't get me wrong, not that I have anything against having lesbian characters being the main character or bisexual women as the lead character in a princess movie. Not that I'm saying Elsa's a princess because she's a queen. And but yeah, not that I have anything against the notion of having these characters being the main character in these fairy tale type of stories in the movies and whatnot. If they're gonna do something like that, fine, fine, be my guest. I'm not against them. I'm just saying. Okay, alright. I think it's been long enough. Let's just, you know, dive into this and just, get into it. If I have to do another part, I guess I'll do it, but let's just, oh boy, let's get into it, folks.
Increasingly self-destructing. And The Economist magazine brings this out as a concern because The Economist magazine still has some level of rationality and some sensitivity to the destruction of the modern Western countries. They're seeing it. It's happening. It's already happening. So all these proud nations that became these economic powerhouses and then forgot God, and that's largely Western nations that had something of a Christian heritage, these nations are imploding. Their birth imploding, and their economies will not survive.
Must I remind you what happened with the Imperial Rome? I mean, yes, granted, before the Christians had took it over, it was still facing some problems. But when the Christians actually had their, their, whatchamacallit, I guess ruling with the iron fist, I guess is a good way of saying it. And they didn't really help things, really. If anything, they made it worse. They made the problematic situations even worse than what it had before. And before, everything just collapsed eventually, of course. But of course, Kevin Swanson is one of those individuals that believes, I mean, yes, he does realize the fact it did fail at some point, but he shifts the blame to somebody else. Oh, it's not the Christian's fault. It's non-believers' fault. So if anything, he believes that this same kind of a thing is going to happen in today's society, which makes absolutely no sense. This entire thing just sounds completely insane. Yeah, this just dumb, really dumb. So yeah, certainly my YouTube channel is, at least this video anyway, it's become like a history lesson, like the other video I did. All the other times I brought this kind of thing up. So society is going to fall apart and whatnot, and mayhem because of a son princess movie and whatnot. Okay, I should say princess movie because there's more than one. Princess movies, I guess. Must I remind you what happened with the Spanish Empire? They weren't exactly nice to people, you know. They enslaved individuals. I mean, of course, eventually they fell, obviously, but they became one of the most powerful empires in human history. And yes, they were these devoted Catholics because, hey, God said so. Let's slave people and whatnot. It was more, mind you, I'm not being specific on people because he did this kind of a thing with more than one group of individuals because God said so. Oh yeah, I guess the natives, as in from this country, were enslaved. The Jewish were enslaved, and even the people from Africa were enslaved. And yeah, they didn't like the Middle Easterns as either, just to name a few. So yeah, they were all for slavery. And yet, a lot of people seem to falsely accuse white people for, as in Caucasians, I mean, for the creation of slavery. Oh, okay. But no, nobody speaks about the Spanish Empire and what they did. No, let's not bring that up at all, right? This entire argument is so flawed. Disney himself was falsely accused of being anti-Semitic and other racist stuff. Among the fact, apparently anyway, he's sexist. All of which was lying if you think about it.
And The Economist understands that. So that's why they write these articles, The Strange Case of the Missing Baby. This came out just yesterday in The Economist, which is one of the best magazines available, by the way, if you want a magazine that still has something over an eighth grade vocabulary. It still thinks somewhat rationally about things.
Eighth grade? Most of them are third.
Yeah. And has a lot of facts and graphs, which are fun to read. Okay. Well, this one talks about the birth implosions across most of the developed nations. And the thing that has surprised them is they understand that, yeah, birth implosions happen as the economies tend to fail in these materialist nations. And the reasons for that is because people do not want to sacrifice anything of their existentialist, self-centered, materialistic lifestyle.
So, apparently, according to what he was saying, there is that you're too materialistic. So, instead of believing in God, you're going to go ahead and support Disney and buy a lot of their items and stuff. Therefore, as a reason of this, is because you don't believe in God. What does self-control have to do with the LGBT community, Disney, or God specifically? I don't know. Just point being, you just want to say that you as an individual is going to be obsessed with buying more stuff, buying more stuff, buying more stuff, and then buying more stuff and buying more stuff. So doing this alone, is a form of, what do you call that? Oh yeah, guilt trip. It's nothing more than a guilt trip is what he's trying to do. He wants you to feel bad for buying the Disney, specifically Frozen stuff, I guess you can say. I know he's saying an issue with Frozen, so I'm guessing it's with the Frozen stuff and specifically in terms of that. So yeah, in other words, like I said, he just wants you to feel bad for buying these items. Therefore, you're ashamed. How dare you spend that money to support this corporation that's somehow destroying family values? And the only way you can have a good family value is if you're Christian. Okay. This company, the Walt Disney Company, does support the LGBT community. So, which leads me to wonder, yeah, I wonder what all of this is really about. Oh, gee. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Makes me wonder, right? So, yeah, again, everybody's case for the consumption of these Disney-related items, Frozen specifically. Oh, boy. Yeah, this guy's not making any sense. I don't care how you slice and dice it. He's not making no sense whatsoever.
I have a child.
Yeah,
Children
are
are
expensive.
Yeah, children are expensive.
Oh boy, the amount of stupid. I mean, really, man. Yes, of course. Obviously, kids are expensive. Babies are expensive. Yes. It's taking you this long to figure that out? Really? And yes, kids are known to throw tantrums, and they're infamous for that. But that doesn't mean you should buy them the items. So how is this supporting what you're saying? Come on.
Yeah.
Especially for parents that have to hire out all of the institutions to raise them. That's where it gets really expensive. If you have to hire out institutions to give womb to tomb security for your babies, your preschoolers, et cetera, they're going to be very
Could you be even more patronizing? And I just want to say that instead of just using all that money on those expensive items like Frozen and whatnot, I'll just use it for schooling and whatnot. Not for the kid. And by the way, Kevin Swanson was actually homeschooled, and he does take some issue to the public schools to some extent, in a way. So, okay. So, again, he's trying to guilt trip you. Again, like I just said a few moments ago, guilt trip you, if anything. If I had a child, he or she is not getting one of those PlayStation consoles like a PS4, PS5, or whatever until like maybe when they're, let's say, 13, 14. So I know that's quite a while, but still, that's what I would say. Well, I guess if I want to be optimistic about it, maybe 8, 9, somewhere around there, right before they hit middle school, I guess, something like that. Of course, have to teach them to be disciplined and learn the value of said item. And also, that's condescending. Very condescending. Don't tell me how to be a parent to my hypothetical child. No. No, come on, give me a break. Oh.
very expensive. Now, if you go the other way, the covenantal approach, and you integrate the generations, bring grandma into the home, and raise your own children, you don't have to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have to spend.
Referring to, like I just said a moment ago, homeschooling. He's referring to that, the covenant way. Okay. But guess what? You still have to spend a lot of money on the child anyway. Lots and lots of money for baby supplies or anything else. Basically, just because he was homeschooled means that's the greatest single way of all time. That's the best method of raising a child. Is homeschooled apparently. Okay.
When you bring in kids into the world and yet you're trying to maintain something of a convenience lifestyle for yourself. Children do require a fair
Again, it's not a lifestyle. It's how they were born. How you not getting this at all?
amount of personal sacrifice, and that's very, very hard for materialistic nations. And that's why, of course, the most materialistic
No, it's about self-control. Just because you don't believe in God doesn't mean that the said individual is just going to be buying stuff all willy-nilly. Okay. It just makes the individual irresponsible. You mean to tell me that this never happened to a Christian, like at all? It's gonna be you're gonna be irresponsible regardless. That's gonna happen either way, no matter what.
nations in the world have the lowest birth rates, and the poorest nations
Individuals who are materialistic have the lowest birth rates. How would you know that? Seriously, how would you know that specifically? How exactly do you obtain this information? Oh yeah, that's right. You're just trying to say that the Christian way is the best way. Why simultaneously, as a result of this, you're gonna just shit on everybody else for not believing in God in your version of the Bible, specifically in a way. So, okay.
in the world have the highest birth rates. That's
Coincidentally enough, it's the rich Christians that you're speaking of, right? That are really well off and whatever. Okay. This entire thing just seems like you're just making it up. You maybe got some information from somewhere, maybe from the Republicans, and you just trying to talk some shit about liberals or Democrats, and somehow you believe that you're in the correct, just based on very little information, if any at all.
why? Because the materialist nations tend to be selfish pigs. Okay? Now, again,
Oh, okay. I'm the selfish pig for not believing in God in the way that you're doing it, and being really materialistic in your point of view. By buying lots of frozen stuff. I'm still gonna do it. With a kid or no kid. I'm over 100 years old, like I mentioned before, and I don't have any kids. To hell with that shit. It's not your business anyway, even if I had any. Maybe I do. You don't know that. Ugh. You, America is a capitalist system, so I can buy and sell whatever I want, whenever I want, as long as it's legal. And again, that right there is none of your business whatsoever. Here's your nose back. I caught it in my business, so leave me be, alright? Mind your own beeswax. And leave me be. Leave me alone. Why are you so obsessed with this kind of a thing? It's really creepy, you know? It's really, really creepy.
And we're talking about the average birth rate in these nations. We're not talking that there are some families that God has only blessed them with one child or two children, and that's it. God has closed up the womb for the rest, and that's all right. They love the children that God has given to them, and we ought not to covet each other's blessings.
It's incredibly sexist. You just view women to be nothing more than baby factories. What if they can't give birth to a child? It could be a number of factors, of course. Maybe it's genetics, maybe it's cancer, but there's like a number of things that make her I guess, can't give birth. And he's also gaslighting. Oh, bless your child and whatnot. You're blessed with the child, I mean. It's very gaslighting, you know that, right? Yeah. Anyway, just talking all kinds of shit.
We ought to just appreciate what God has given to each and every one. But the point is that the modern nation...
And gaslighting, because apparently you've been ungraceful if you spend that very money on other materials such as frozen items and whatnot, like the dollies I showed earlier. I got them for myself. So what? Whoop-de-doo. Again, it's not your business. I can buy as many dollies as I want. So what? This guy. It's very manipulative. Baby, manipulative on an emotional level.
Have cut their own birth rates on purpose for materialistic reasons.
Materialistic people had intentionally cut their birth rate in half, if not more, just to buy materialistic stuff. Yeah. Okay, this is a very complex issue you're talking about, but you're trying to oversimplify on the complex issue. I mean, yes, those people that care more about material stuff than they do with their own child, which yes, is very important. It's very unfortunate, and it's an important issue to discuss. But what does any of this have to do with Disney and Frozen, or anything else, for that example? In that case, this makes no. Okay, what if some parent or parents don't want any kids, so instead they just want to save that money that they could have spent on a child, which, like you said, is expensive. So, but they want to have a house, a nice car, and all that. Instead, that's called being responsible. See what I did there? I just used your own argument against it. It's that easy.
So that's number one. So the article brings out that, yes, as people in materialistic nations see their median income fall, they will lower their birth rates. And that's happened since the year 2000, roughly 2007 for the United States.
People abusing the capitalist system and just use that as a way to buy a bunch of shit for themselves and not take care of the child. That's going to happen anyway, regardless if they had kids or not. Newsflash, that does happen. There's been many people who have maybe 5 kids, 3 kids, 8 kids at once, and that could be really a lot of money, and still abuse them. Again, this is a very complex issue that you really oversimplify here. And it sounds like you're making stuff up.
States. So is the converse true, though? Then as the nation recovers, does their birth rate go up?
Well, that's exactly the point of this article. The strange case of the missing baby. They say, well, we've had all these recoveries, and yet the birth rates continue to implode. There has been no recovery of the birth rate. That's
this is so stupid. God damn it, this is so fucking sweet merciful Jesus. Holy shit, man. So basically, what him and his friends trying to get at that the birth rate is declining because people are too busy buying stuff. Basically, is what's getting at, and people should be recovered from this sickness.
Their point.
Okay.
There's been no recovery of the birth rate, even though it appears that some of these nations have recovered from their economic recessionary situation that happened.
It's a contradiction. this recession or whatever you want to call it wouldn't exist if people are just buying shit left and right. If they're just buying just like random, like expensive perfumes, expensive jewelry, expensive consoles, like we were saying earlier, literally just any expensive stuff, that doesn't mean that's going to be a recession. That's like the other way around. Here's the weird part about it. This gets really murky on his part, I guess you can say. But which I mean is that he claims he's all for capitalism, which in itself is a lie because he's for it as long as for the Christian way. Can only be for you can only be a Christian capitalism is what I'm getting at. What the way he's talking, he's sounding very much against capitalism because atheists and Disney, I guess, and the gays. That sounds like fascism when you think about it because he's only for Christian capitalism. That sounds fascism, which it is.
Back in 2008. Well, I think a couple of reasons for that. One is I'm not sure we have recovered. Certainly the median income has not recovered.
Oh, what happened was the whole house market bubble thing popped, however you want to phrase that. It's that the whole housing thing that happened in 2008, specifically in that around that time, it burst. And I guess to some extent, I can blame the bankers for that, for allowing people who are not responsible enough to do this kind of event, take care of the housing. And I can also blame the customers for buying said houses because for being irresponsible. Oh boy. Oh, he's claiming that all this bad stuff is happening in the market when it comes to job opportunities or whatever else, and the financial aid and all that stuff. It's on a downhill because you, sir, or you, madam, isn't Christian enough. Oh boy, again, overly simplifying a complex problem here. And it sounds really manipulative because you know that's what it is. Very manipulating.
Recovered. Now, the job rate has, but somehow the median income hasn't recovered, at least in the United States.
During a certain time period, what was it? 2008? Yeah. Uh, yeah, something like that. 2006, 2007, 2008. Yeah, one of those three. At the earliest 2006. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But point being is that there were still wealthy people during said period of time. It's not like everyone simultaneously all at once became broke or near broke because of this. Again, you're really oversimplifying everything.
That's why we need $15 an hour, right?
And remember you.
That seems highly manipulative. Or they should raise up the minimum rate to $15 an hour. I mean, in some places they did, yeah, and more so. But are they trying to come up like, oh, see, I'm on your side, I'm the good guy? Again, comes up very manipulative. The both of you and your friend there, Kevin Swanson, are maybe too stupid to come up with a backup plan to avoid inflation, which has happened, you know. Venezuela for once, so yeah. Raise it up for $15 an hour. How can I avoid that? You mean to tell me it doesn't matter what your skill set is? It doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's, Wendy's, or whatever. It should be like 20 or 30 bucks an hour. Oh boy. So it depends on what you're doing and what your position is, and it depends on the job itself, and what your skills are. There's so many questions. You're making it too easy. Well, both of you are making it too easy, I should say. Oh boy. Give me a break.
Youth unemployment.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
the
huge.
young people, 18 to 28 years of age, tend to have the highest birth rate, or they have the ability to have children.
Man, that's come off really condescending. All the young folk are too busy having sex to worry about supporting them and too worried about not believing in God and all that jazz. Okay. Again, all you're doing is just talking shit. Wow, from your mouth. That's all you're doing. Just talking shit. Oh boy. Just wow. This again, this seems way too easy if you ask me to counter you guys.
And that doesn't happen when they're using birth control and when they're not getting jobs. If they're not
they have
getting
the
jobs,
highest
they're not having
unemployment.
kids. Yes.
I call bullshit on that because a lot of you Christians, regardless of which version of Christianity, regardless of which denomination of Christianity, a lot of you guys, notice that I'm specifying guys, are actually against female condoms, female birth control because you want women to be nothing more than baby factories. Man, again, you're making it way too easy. Making it way too damn easy for me to counter you guys.
Highest
So
unemployment
that's the
rate.
second problem. So the recession isn't
Funny how you don't criticize George Bush when he was in office. Oh yeah, is it because he's a Republican? I don't really hear you say anything bad about uh, Trump or Ted Cruz. Only anybody in the Bush administration or Trump administration at the time. But of course, you're going to attack the people who are more liberal and Democrat. Again, it feels like you've just been selective about a lot of things. Oh boy, this is dumb.
over. The recession continues. The destruction of the economies of the Western world continues and will continue for the.
Better watch it, folks. You're finding Elsa way too attractive. Therefore, it's your fault for the country to go into shit because you're having sex and responsibility and you don't want to believe in God. Maybe. Fear my argument. That's all it is. How dare you not spend that very money on making a family? You should make family. That's it. Don't spend all that money on material stuff. Look, it's so asinine.
You're not gonna kill me?
Don't tell me what to do!
Well, I guess Big TD Elsa over here is going to bring down civilization because, I don't know. People are cigarette deviants. What's going on here? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.